Hello, this is Tesla Radiant Energy Part 2. In previous first video I described phenomenon which Tesla made by cold white glowing lamp with described by resistor and ions around resistor over here around the filaments. Also I describe we know that every field in any type of field decreases by the distance, by the square root of distance. But with this test, when I have radiation from Tesla coil like this in both directions, when I have alternating resistor capacitor, that in the first capacitor was lower voltage and then other, so every second capacitor, next capacitor has more voltage than it was previous one, which means that we can collecting more and more and more voltage by the distance, which means when until the field is weaker, is going weaker and weaker, we have more voltage. But if radiation comes from here, we cannot collect nothing. It must be in line of radiation. Now over here I will make analogy of this circuit. Let's say for easy calculation it is 1 ohm resistor and it is 12 volts source. We will switch on this resistor for 1 second, which means that 12 amps will pass through resistor for 1 second. The current amps are number of coulombs per second, which means that 12 coulombs pass for 1 second through resistor, 1 ohm resistor. If we put parallel with this resistor 1 farad, 6 capacitors each, and again 1 ohm resistor here, and we will switch off, let's say switch off this line and switch on this line. We will find that we will charge these 6 capacitors through this, the same resistor like this one, for 1.83 seconds, and we will have in each capacitor 2 volts. When we discharge each of them, so totally when we sum up in each of them, we will again have 12 coulomb like this one, but over here the current passed for 1 second. Over here it was faster, which means when we add more and more capacitor, it will be faster and faster, but always we will have the same amount of charge. If we make a relationship with in energy, over here was 12 times the current which will pass will 12 amp, so which means that we have 144 joules which pass to resistor. So when 12 coulombs pass to 1 ohm resistor and 12 volts, it radiate 144 joules. but over here radiate only 12 joules. So which you can see how much less energy radiate to this path, but the same amount of charge. That's why Tesla had cold white glowing, it wasn't hot. It can be explained by this analogy. But over here something's very interesting came on the surface in the story. So if we have the body which radiate around, all around, so if we have some conductive bodies, or even it could be man, human, or some column or some metal body in shop, they act, and we have high frequency. So if we have like minimum 6 of them in this line, let's say that we have 7 people in line. We are conductive. So which means that charge will pass here, if 7 people, for 3 seconds, but over here just single person. It can happen that the sense of time of this person and people here is not the same. If you remember, when Tesla works with the X-rays, he had accident with his assistants when they have been overexposed to X-rays with the Tesla coil which he made, and Tesla reported that all of them felt sleepy, and all of them has sensed that time passing so fast. So it could be reason like I described here. It gave me idea to collect energy of radiation on different way. So I do not need it. It is ordinary bridge rectifier. Over here will be capacitor. It will be AC input. AC input, and here will be DC, positive, it's negative. If we cut in two, we will get something which is very popular, like Avraменko plug by Autor, and over here we have high frequency input. It could be DC or AC. To explain how it's possible to be charged by one wire, because there is no another wire, we have to know that here is capacitance to the ground. By this, let's say, this capacitor has, if we put here, it has some, each capacity to the ground. So we need to put, because the source is also has its own capacitance to the ground. so it closes on that way. So and the charge comes like here to this, and when return like to this path. So, I improved that. I said I will use capacitor on both sides, and here will be, let's say, radiation, which we want to collect. Sorry. So they will charge, because over here again we have capacitance to the ground of these setups, but also capacitance between them. So we can go forward and we can build, let's say here, if we can continue. This line can be too long, and it is not simple. Now it's more complex. Capacitance between them, capacitance to the ground. So, which means that we can charge to very high voltage all capacitors if they are in line of radiation. If radiation will be here, then we will not charge nothing. So I can show this very short presentation. So we have no voltage in we have millivolts in this capacitor. Over here we have 10 microfarads, 20 microfarads, 40 microfarads. Why? I made it because if it is 10, if they are the same, let's say 10, 10, 10, and they are in the exposed to radiation, we will have X voltage here, over here with double, and again X. So that's why I double this capacitor value to get similar the same voltage. So I will expose this to this toy, high voltage toy, for 5 seconds, let's say. It's no matter. Let's see what we have now. 10 microfarads has now 130. This one has 120. This one has 30. It's now I will ground minus last capacitor. I will ground by the ground connection, and I will expose again about 5 seconds. Okay, that's it. Now we'll check what we have. 10 microfarad has 160. This one has almost the same, and this one has the same, almost the same. Sorry, the measurement was wrong. It must be about 50 here, perhaps a bit here. So But the problem with this circuit is that they are all we need relatively complicated circuit to discharge them to use. But instead the capacitor, we can use the battery. So and also we can continue in this line how long we want to do. And in that case, if we expose the capacitor in the line of radiation, the battery in the line of radiation, we can charge them. It is not high current, depends on the source, but if the source has high radiation, we will charge very easy the batteries. What is also very important to say here, if it is the capacitor and diode is here close to this capacitor, and let's say this capacitor is much forward, so if radiation comes from this side, it will work so like I show. But if radiation comes from this side, when diodes are distant from receiving capacitor, there will not be charge collection. Also, if diodes is like here, one to close to another to another, again will not collect nothing. It must be like I showed in the beginning. So if we have driving battery or one of few of them, we have the circuit which this battery drive, and there is some kind of radiation which this device produces. If we put primary battery like this, and we can continue, it happens that this battery will receive charge. This one will receive also charge, but this one gives the charge to driving this device. So it is another option how to collect energy, radiant energy. But if you work with that kind of device, you need to find the position of the batteries to the device and to emitting body. So you need to play with that. If you go back, use the same analogy, what I describe on the beginning, it is actually analogy of the simplified analogy of the electrolyzer or the battery. It's actually more close to the true is like this. It is, let's say, anode. It is the cathode. It is analogy with. So I was thinking how to use the same principle for splitting water, for charging battery. The ions inside of liquid we cannot use like it's shown here, so I needed to change approach. What I did, I have high voltage output AC. Then it is the water, chamber glass of water, and let's say the water is connected to the ground. So I insert the tube by the electric. Inside of this tube is conductive rod, but not to the end. So here is the gap. When it starts, it produces the gases, and like these particles. So if we zoom up this electrode, it is the electric tube, and electrode comes to here, to the high voltage. It is the gap. It could be by air and it's surrounding water. So the particles, ions in this air or the gases will act like capacitors and charge-discharge. And like I said, there will be DC components like in Tesla coil, so it can split the water. Even AC, we can apply AC, it can split the water, and actually if we have high voltage enough, we do not need second electrode, just one. Yes, I will show how let's say, it is the test tube. Inside of this test tube is a silicon tube, and it is a tungsten rod. So if you can see that there it's finished here. So when I immerse, the water, the air will be captured. Sorry. Okay, care. So I immerse in glass of this tap water. It could be any water, electrolyte, tap water, no matter, because we are working with high voltage. This one, I could cover this glass with aluminium to make electrode, but in that case we will not see for this video. So I immerse in bigger glass, and from there I have copper to the grounded terminal. So the tungsten rod is on the high voltage terminal. So I will try to add, to switch on. So okay, the problem with this concept is that we have problem to find the electric which can last longer. Every dielectric which we try to use, we burned. Even high voltage ceramic, we use the glass, so many materials. Also, we have one very strange effect by this, where it was just simply set up to show you. We have effect that we drive that by the hours. The water was cold, we have bubbling all the time. And on the end, when we measure how much water we consume, it was surprising that we consumed so small amount of water, which cannot explain from where these gases we produce. Does it came from water, or I don't know. I read that Kanarev and Mitsuno has the similar effect that they had in some cases much more gas production by hydrogen than water was consumed. This principle brought me to exploring a little more plasma. It will be in incoming videos. That's for now. Thank you for watching.